set it up. What's this conversation?
The conversation is with my friend Kevin, and so we had a couple years spending a lot of time with each other, not really having a lot of spiritual conversations. He knew I was very passionate about my faith. He kind of would mention that it's not really on his radar. Left it at that for most of our relationship. One morning we just...
This week on the Reach Podcast. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Reach Podcast. I am your host, Blaine Larson, and this week I am joined by a very special guest, John Freshwater. John is Search's area director in Wilmington, North Carolina.
That's right.
And John, I really appreciate you coming in to join us on the podcast today. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited. This is fun.
It's going to be really fun, and I'm seriously looking forward to the conversation we're going to get to unpack together. So why don't you just set it up? What's happening? What's this conversation?
Okay, so I guess I'll fast forward and then back up.
Okay.
But the conversation is with my friend Kevin, and it happened while we were walking and having a spiritual discussion. But I should probably go backwards just to learn a little bit more about our relationship. In my previous job, the company I was working for, I hired Kevin. And so I was his leader, and I kind of have I don't know if it's a good thing, a bad thing, but I have just a problem where I become fast friends with everybody I work with.
I would say that's a good thing.
Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so my leaders, my team members, I just became friends with all of them. So Kevin and I became close quickly. He's just a great guy. We have a lot of similar interests. We love sports, talking about that. We love going and eating probably not healthy food together. And so we had just a couple years spending a lot of time with each other, not really having a lot of deep spiritual conversations.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get there at all when you were working together? Or?
Yes. Now, I will say, if I had some of the principles I have now that I've learned through Search and through Reach, oh my gosh, it would have been life-changing for, not with Kevin, but with just all of the people that I worked with. But throughout those early conversations, spirituality did come up just at a much smaller level.
Yeah.
And so he kind of knew where I stood, and I kind of knew where he stood, which was, he knew I was very passionate about my faith, and that he kind of would mention that it's not really on his radar, not really something he's offended by, worried about. It's just not a big thing in his life. And we kind of left it at that for most of our relationship.
Okay. So fast forward then a little bit to the conversation that we're going to talk about today. How did that happen?
Yeah, so leading up to that conversation, we probably hung out. After I left that job, we continued to be friends, and we probably hung out 20 times, sharing meals together, talking sports. And throughout those 20 times, there were moments where I became almost frustrated because I'm like, man, I would love for this to become a spiritual conversation. And I really struggled with just this tension of, man, I just want to be his friend, and I like having him as my friend, and I don't want to be awkward or weird like by bringing it up. So I'd just pray and look for opportunities, and there were probably 10 lunches in a row where there just was never an opportunity, and we were just friends, and I loved, having him as a friend.
So which is a great thing. I don't want anybody to miss that there's a lot of time that's gone by, and you're trying to be intentional, and you're looking for opportunities, but without pushing it. And so it took a long time to get to this conversation that we're going to talk about, where you actually got to get into stuff.
Yeah, and so one morning, it wasn't this conversation, but one morning we just there was kind of an open door, and we had a great spiritual conversation, and I kind of just floated out there, hey, this was a fun conversation. What if we met every Friday morning and talked about this kind of stuff? And he loved it. He was all into it, and it didn't feel like in inauthentic direction of our friendship. It just felt like a friendship, like we're normal friends, because we are.
Yeah.
Kind of the prerequisite to relational evangelism is a relationship.
Like, you got to have a relationship.
Yeah.
So that always helps.
So we started meeting and walking and talking every Friday morning about just all kinds of spiritual topics. And then so one of these mornings, this specific conversation was really funny. How it came up.
What happened?
So I honestly, I don't know what we were talking about. We were talking about just whatever spiritual topic we were on. But we were in a kind of a popular walking place, and we got approached by another friend who is a believer, and they didn't quite know how to read the room. So they interrupted us, and they go, "Hey, man, how's your ministry going? How's evangelism going?" And just like outing me, right there on the spot. Like, how many people have you converted? And I'm going, oh my God. I'm like trying to give them a signal, like, quiet, like not now. Like,
whoa,
like I'm, that's kind of what I'm doing now. And you're making me feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah. So what do you do after something like that happens?
I mean, first of all, it's my deepest fear. Like, my deepest fear is like the people that I'm friends with, that I'm wanting to share Jesus with, that they'll think that I'm just not a real friend, that I'm just kind of using a fake friendship in order to convert them. And it's not true at all, but it's my fear is that someone will think that.
Hey everybody, I wanted to take a moment and let you know that the Reach podcast is brought to you by Search, a ministry dedicated to sharing Jesus through friendships and conversations for nearly 50 years. Learn more or get involved at searchnational.org.
I think it's a fear that a lot of people have. Probably a lot of people listening, as if you're thinking, okay, I want to be more intentional. How do I do that in a way that doesn't feel inauthentic or isn't? Not only doesn't feel, but it isn't.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that?
I always, I'm always trying to make the friendship priority number one. And there's moments where I could just feel, man, is this like, is this getting weird? Like, is this just a friendship? And so I don't really know how to put words to it, but there's moments where I kind of feel like if I were to bring up a spiritual conversation now, it would be pushy. Like, this isn't how I would normally hang out or talk with someone.
Yeah.
And so I think in those circumstances, it's important not to.
So back to this conversation. Your buddy interrupts you, kind of makes it awkward. Then what happens?
Yeah, so we keep walking. I go, hey man, like, listen, I don't know if that was awkward for you. I was like, let me just tell you, and I think you know this. So I kind of, in my mind, I was like, I'd have to double down. Like, there's no way out of this. I just have to be real and genuine and direct. I was like, the hope that I have found in Jesus, I really want you to find that too. And that's why I feel compelled to have spiritual conversation with you, just because I love you, and the hope that I found, I want you to find. I was like, but if you never believe the same way I do, I'm just planning that we're going to be friends for the rest of our lives. And I was like, as I said that, I was like, that was kind of pretty, that felt pretty good, like rolling off the tongue. And it was genuine and direct. And he just couldn't care less. He was just like, yeah, makes sense to me. Like, not offended, not skeptical. And I think going back to what you said, I mean, we were friends. We had spent a lot of time together. So I don't think there's anything I could have said that really would have rattled our friendship at that point, because of the strength of our relationship.
Well, it's good. I mean, that's how it should be, right? That's the way that you'd want it to be. And I think you handled it really, really well. I've noticed that in my own life, talking with people, that they're wanting to know, especially because one of the most common questions we get is, what do you do for a living? But even before this, when I was in the music business and you're just talking to people, why are you talking to me about this stuff? That kind of thing. Yeah. And just being completely straight is the way to go. I think just telling them what you think and going, I care about you enough that, I want you to kind of figure out what I've been fortunate enough to figure out. And most people appreciate it a lot.
100%. In fact, I've had a similar conversation with, probably a dozen people now, and they all respond the exact same way. They're all extremely grateful, and I think it comes down to just addressing the awkward elephant in the room. Like, listen, man, like I don't know if this is uncomfortable for you or if spiritual conversations are weird, but you're my friend. I care about you enough to have this conversation. But like, if we disagree and we don't see eye to eye, like that doesn't change. I hope you know that doesn't change our friendship. And every single time that's been not only well received, but they've been so grateful that I've embraced the awkwardness to have that conversation. I think they feel more loved that the awkwardness is embraced in the moment. They feel even more like a friend. And I have learned that that person walking up and making Kevin and I's interaction awkward and uncomfortable, I felt like they could have done that 8 months ago and it would have been fine. So I find most of the time I can really have that direct conversation with friends way earlier than I think. You keep waiting and waiting and waiting for the right moment. But most of the time, if they're your friend, they're ready to just hear you speak from your heart.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think oftentimes we push these conversations way too late. That's a little bit of the danger of how we kind of do things around here, to be honest. That's the other, you could take this relational emphasis to an extreme where it's like you never even get there, and so I like to think of it like we want to get to the gospel. Really, that's where we're aiming to get.
Yep.
I want to get there as fast as I can get there, but without kind of forcing and pushing somebody into it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, and oftentimes it's a lot quicker than we probably feel like it could be.
Yeah, and on the flip side, the only time that hasn't gone well for me is when I really didn't have a relationship with the person.
100%.
If I they will get so skeptical so quick. Wait a second. Are you getting paid to talk to me right now? Is this your job? Like, oh no, this is bad. Like, I don't know how to dig my way out of this. But if the relationship is there first, so it's important, at times just to spend that time to be a friend.
Well, and for most people that are listening to this isn't their job. They're trying to learn how to do what we get to do better in their job. But there's elements that make things awkward in any kind of relationship. There can be things. You had one earlier with Kevin. You're his boss.
Exactly.
That's a dynamic that people have to work through. But there's always something. There's always a reason, and so being just honest, straightforward, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I've learned over the years at Search that I think I could apply to any relationship at work, with family, with neighbors, is it sounds so easy and so simple, and it is, and it's just asking permission. Hey, like, would you like to have a conversation about spiritual things? Like, do you like talking about that kind of thing? Is that in a workplace? I mean, I think that's very appropriate, depending on the type of company culture you're in, to just ask and let them decide for you.
Yeah, that's it. So this has been great, John. Seriously, thank you. We want to always like ending with this question. So everything we talked about, this interaction with Kevin, what's the one thing that you want everybody to take away and maybe be able to apply in their lives this week?
My number one takeaway would be in Luke 15, Jesus is ridiculed for spending too much time with non-religious people. And he makes the point, a triple point on 3 separate stories, that it is valuable to spend an inordinate amount and an inefficient amount of time with one person. So my takeaway for anyone listening is everybody has one person in their life. And, you hear, I was just on an Instagram this morning, I saw a church highlight of, 92 salvations, 130 baptisms. And you can feel so insignificant when you hear numbers like that. But there's nothing insignificant to God about the one person in your life that you have a relationship with, that you love, that you care about, and you might be the only person that can reach them. And so one person is valuable and meaningful to God, and it should be to us as well.
Yeah, great way to end the podcast. John, thank you so much for being here. This is fun.
Oh, it's a blast.
Come on
Thank
back,
you.
all right?
Thanks for listening to the Reach Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. That'd be a good idea. Share it with a friend and leave us a review to help others find the podcast. Now, for more resources, please visit reachothers.org and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'd love to hear from you.